Today we have the honor of speaking with Coach Alan Lowry, best known for being the architect of the Music City Miracle, one of the NFL's greatest plays. Alan's going to help impart wisdom into special teams coaches, to punters and kickers, and really give us a new insight into the special teams, world. Let's get to it. Coach Alan, thank you so much for joining me today. And before we start talking football, I just want to say thank you for coaching me for 11 of my 12 years here at Tennessee, and
I loved it.
It was an honor playing for you. You were an unbelievable special teams coordinator for your ability to almost outsmart the opponent a lot of times and to outcoach them. And I think that goes unnoticed a lot with special teams coaches, their ability to find the opponent's weakness. And you were so good at that. So just thank you for mentoring me and supporting me and rooting me on for those 11 of my 12 years here.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I want to talk about a little bit first. I'm going to let you go on this, but I want to talk about, and I never knew this about you. At Texas, what kind of player that you were. I'm just going to run through some things, and I might embarrass you a little bit, but that's okay because this needs to be known. All conference 2 times. Is that right? Mm-hmm. National championship at Texas. Mm-hmm. 3-time conference champions. Mm-hmm. All conference 2 times, but at 2 different positions.
Correct.
That's amazing. 1973 Cotton Bowl offensive MVP. Mm-hmm. The last Longhorn to earn all Southwest Conference honors at 2 positions.
You know who the one before me was?
Who is that?
Tommy Nobis.
Never heard of him? Never heard of him.
No way.
But
he was All-American both ways.
Is that right? That's unbelievable. But just to have that I don't know, that experience, that pedigree is amazing to me. And I never knew that about you. So that makes me even more impressed about you. So you took that. Just kind of tell your story after that. I wanted to get all that out there because I know you wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. So just kind of tell me your story of kind of your playing career, the NFL, how you got into the coaching aspect of the NFL. So I'll give you the mic now.
Well, what happened was I still lacked a few hours to graduate. So I became a graduate assistant at the University of Texas, and they let me almost coach quarterbacks when I was there.
So your positions, the 2 positions that you got, that you played,
corner and quarterback.
Corner and quarterback.
Yeah.
So going from the grad assistant, tell me what's next.
Then I went as a grad assistant to Virginia Tech University, which Coach Royal, my head coach, and Bear Bryant were really good friends. And his coach got the job at Virginia Tech, so he got me on that staff, and I got to go there and basically coach the quarterbacks.
Wow.
At Virginia Tech. So
about who you know, isn't it?
Great experience. Well, it's who Coach Royal knew.
That's exactly right. Well, that's awesome.
I got a great story about that for later, though.
All right. Well, that's remember that because we want to hear it. So after Virginia Tech, what happened?
Then Fred Akers, he was my position coach at every position I played in college. He moved to offense when I moved to offense, and so he got the head job at the University of Wyoming. And so he asked me to come on his staff, and so I went to the University of Wyoming with him, and I coached there for a year, and then my mother got real sick with leukemia. And so I left there and went back home and was with her when she passed away, and then Coach Akers thankfully hired me back when he went back to Texas.
Well, that's awesome. That seems to be kind of the norm nowadays of people moving around so much like that in their coaching career. Why is that, do you think?
Well, I think nowadays it's because there's just no loyalty anywhere. There's not. There's, with this transfer portal, with the NIL, and within the coaching ranks, I just don't think there's any loyalty.
And I agree. And that's the unfortunate part, in my opinion, of the NIL as well. Is it seems like players, just from a player's perspective, if you don't get exactly what you want, you just move on to the next place. And I think that it wasn't
even in the same year if you want to.
That's exactly right. And it was not like that back when I was in college at Notre Dame, and they gave you a scholarship and you committed to 4 years with them. And that's just how it was. And
Well,
It's
and if
interesting
you
the shift.
wanted to transfer, you had to sit out a year.
That's right.
You transferred to another school, you sat out a full year.
So if you were in charge, would you take away all the NIL stuff?
Yes.
Would you?
Well, no. I wouldn't take it away. I would make it equal.
Okay, so
I'd
explain
make
that.
sure everybody on the team got the same amount of money.
Oh, so you don't have a
It would be
$4
a
or $5 million
team.
player, and
Exactly.
I got you.
It would be a team situation.
So they divvied up between every player on the team, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Interesting take.
And 2 years ago, the University of Texas kind of did that with their offensive line because they were trying to keep them together. So they gave every offensive lineman $50,000.
Oh, wow.
So they had 16 of them, and they gave them all the same amount.
That's an interesting take, and I never thought about that. So after coaching in college for that many years, what was your NFL breakthrough? Like, where'd you get your first chance in the NFL?
Well, when my mother was sick, I went up to the Dallas Cowboys and I worked for Gil Brandt, and I graded tape because I knew he used tape for the draft. So I would go up and I'd grade all these guys, for the draft for Gil. And so I got to know him pretty well, and he really helped me with Coach Landry to get the job in Dallas.
So when you broke down film, it wasn't just special teams players, it was people in general, every position.
Everybody.
Every position.
I did Tony Dorsett. I did.
Wow.
I did a lot of them.
So Tom Landry is a name that a lot of younger people probably wouldn't even know. He's one of the iconic coaches in NFL history. So what was it like coaching with him or for him?
He was maybe the most amazing coach I've ever seen.
Really? In what way?
Well, almost every way, because he did the offense and the defense every week.
So he was almost like the coordinator
He was
of
a
each.
coordinator of both.
Wow.
But he called the offensive plays. And then he was always just on an upward plane.
Wow.
You
Just
could
ahead of
count on
everybody
him.
else.
Yeah, and you could count on him. I think I heard him say one cuss word in the whole time I ever
Isn't that
was
amazing?
around.
So his even keel was one of his assets.
No doubt about it.
And he probably earned a lot of respect from the
his-
players because it wasn't chewing their rear end all the time too.
Well, and one of his big deals was Fellowship of Christian Athletes. That was a big outreach of his.
Did he start that, or how long has that been around?
No, he didn't start it, but
He was one of the
he was one of the early ones.
Wow.
Yeah, and he used to have a golf tournament there in Dallas that back in the 80s it would raise $200,000.
Wow, unbelievable. Which
yeah.
is nowadays, what would that be?
Oh man.
Good gracious. So Dallas, what did you coach in Dallas? Did you coach in Dallas other than you obviously broke down the film, but after that, did he hire you as a coach?
Oh, he hired me as the special teams coach. Mike Ditka was leaving to go to Bears, and so he hired me as a special teams coach, and I also coached tight ends.
Ditka was a special teams coach when you were there?
He was special teams tight ends.
Is that right?
That's what I coached.
So back in those days, did coaches do dual positions, almost like you found somebody who wanted to do special teams? Because nowadays you have a special teams coach. It's not another coach that does special teams.
It was done that way for about my first, till I went to San Francisco. I coached, the tight ends and the special teams. But then when I went to San Francisco, they made me just the special teams coach.
Gotcha. So in Dallas, when you were coaching special teams, did you coach with Ditka in that then?
Never did.
Never did.
I took his place.
I got you. Okay. So he went on to have a pretty successful career. So making the transition from position coaches, quarterbacks and tight ends to special teams, what was the biggest adjustment that you had to make as a coach? What were some pluses and minuses, I guess, of coaching special teams?
Well, the biggest thing that I had going for me was that while I was playing at Texas, I played on every special teams.
Even playing
I
playing
punted,
DB and
I punted. I was the holder. I did, I was a punt returner. So,
when did you get a time to take a break? Not much.
Yeah,
So do you think that experience of playing all those different positions helped you as a special teams coach?
No doubt about it. Then, because when I got to be a coach at the University of Texas, because this is my, I went back from University of Wyoming to Texas, and I every day I helped, coach special teams. And we had really good special teams. We had Johnny Johnson, and he was our punt returner, and we had a bunch of really good special teams players. But we put a lot of time in on special teams, and we did a good job of everybody on the staff doing their part to coach it.
So you got, it was collective. In other words, everybody played their part. So one coach, maybe the defensive line coach, may coach the punt return defensive or something like that, where it was a collective thing to bring everybody together. Because that's one of the interesting things about special teams to me is, and one of the things I loved most about it is that you got to play with players that played both offense and defense. And so everybody came together for that one play for a common purpose. And that to me was the fun of the team.
Almost everybody on the team.
That's right.
At some point.
That's exactly right.
So I really like that.
Yeah. So do you think it's a requirement? I'm going to put it in air quotes, but is it a requirement to be a great special team coach to actually have played major college football, NFL football? Or do you think someone who may not have had that experience that you've had or gained that wisdom from actually playing can be a great coach?
Oh, I've known some really good ones that weren't
never played before.
Yeah. Joe DeCamillis.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a really good one.
Yes.
I can't remember the guy's name now that was at Philadelphia for a while. Oh, God, what was it?
Well, for a while it was Harbaugh, John Harbaugh.
But John coached.
John coached, yeah.
He was a defensive backs coach.
So when we talk on this channel about we're talking, trying to really impart wisdom into punters, kickers, snappers, special teams coaches, and parents of all these young aspiring kickers and punters. But to special teams coaches, I think maybe a misconception might be that you have to have this actual game experience to be a great coach. And I think it helps, but I don't know that it's necessarily a requirement, because you can learn the X's and O's of great football and learn how to motivate people.
I agree with that.
Learn how to gain the trust of the people you're coaching, even if you didn't play.
Right.
And I think that is would be great for young people to hear who may not have played football but want to be a coach.
And that was even before YouTube.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you can find anything on here now.
YouTube.
You're exactly right. So tell me what, in your opinion, makes a great special teams coach?
I think it's, if I look at myself, I think of myself as a teacher.
Yeah.
And I try to be as good a teacher as I possibly can. And then after I do that, I want my guys to be better trained than the guys they're playing. And to try to get them to, have that experience level and be at a level where they can outplay the other team.
Yep. To give them, put them in the position to be able to.
Put them in the position to do that.
To be able to use their want to.
If I'm a good enough teacher, most of the time I could do that. And then I was also like I guess you'd say the trick aspect of it.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
And luckily, I was with a head coach that really liked it.
Yeah.
Jeff Fisher, he loved all of the fake punts and all the onside kicks and all the.
It definitely makes special teams a little more interesting.
No doubt about it.
For sure.
All I had to do is every Monday I'd go in and say, okay, here's what I think we can do. And he'd look at it and go, okay.
That's right. Well, I think, too, what makes great special teams coaches, and I've been around a couple really good ones. In Green Bay, I had Nolan Cromwell, who was a great player with the Rams, really good special teams coach, and obviously you. But your ability to gain a competitive edge through film study and picking out the opponent's weaknesses and exploiting those weaknesses at the right time. And
see, that's part of being a teacher to me, is being able to tell your players those weaknesses and get them to realize what they are and try to take advantage of them during the game.
That's right. So, but you can tell them all you want, but until you motivate them to do it,
you got to be able to get them to do it.
Until you motivate them to do it, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
And so that's another aspect of a great coach, is the ability to motivate and to bring people together for a common purpose, which in that one play, we get one play. And it's not like an offense. We get a series of 4 plays. We get one shot to dominate somebody, and you better do it while you're out there.
Yeah.
And that to me is a great special teams coach. So I agree with everything there. So tell me about when you were coaching, specifically, I guess, in the NFL, well, really in college too. What were some specific things you looked for in your punters and kickers that kind of would set them apart from everybody else? You may have two punters that are very similar, but what was the distinguishing factor of you choosing one over the other?
I've always said that the thing that separates punters is consistency.
Okay.
You know, just you got to have the right drop. You got to have the right leg swing. You know, all of those kind of things. You got to be able to take the right steps, put it where you want it. And
not panic under pressure. That's the key for me.
Yeah, especially when you know that the pressure's coming.
That's right.
Because you can look up there and say, okay.
Well, just like any other position, a quarterback sees blitzes coming. A punter's job when he gets back, getting ready to take a snap, is to look at the opposing team. Exactly. Is there 6 guys up, 7 guys up, 8 guys up? Is there a guy come off the edge? He's my guy if he comes off. So being prepared like that and practicing the way that you play. I always tell people you have to practice the way that you play, because then when you get in the game, nothing shocks you. You've practiced everything.
Yeah, you have to. And that's, again, that goes back to if I'm a good teacher, I'm going to practice everything that I think will happen in that game.
Or that could possibly happen.
Happen in that game.
That's right. And you were very good at the details, and Coach Fisher was very good at the details of special teams, knowing every single rule and every single variation of the rule. And we would practice, Coach would have me practice bad snaps all the time. Holding, endless times we would hold and catch the ball, and actually not even put the ball on the ground, but hold it above a spot to make sure the spot. I mean, there were so many details that we worked on that allowed us a better chance of success if something bad happened. And that to me is what differentiates great punters and average punters, is the ability to perform under pressure first, but to not panic when something bad happens.
No doubt about it.
And so you have 2 punters that are the same experience. That's the thing you look for. Consistency.
Right. Consistency.
All right.
For me, that's, and I'm not worried about, I mean, some of the guys that were the long punters and all of that.
The bombers.
I love to return punts against them.
Absolutely.
You know, I didn't mind that at all.
So nowadays you'd love to be a special teams coach for punt return, because all they do is bomb it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We back when we were playing, I know your philosophy was your favorite punt was the 45-yard fair catch. No chance of return, and you gain 45 yards for your defense.
45-yard net, I'll take it every punt.
Exactly right. But we played against guys like Shane Leckler, who would kick it 70 yards. It may not have 5 seconds, maybe 4.2 or 4.3, but he would drill it.
Right.
Well, they're banking on, and it's kind of the philosophy nowadays, in my opinion, they're banking on stopping the return man for a 10 or 15, 20-yard return and netting their 40 or 45 yards.
45, yeah.
But you were under
but if I get the chance to have that 20-yard return, I've got a chance for a long return.
Many chances.
Yes,
That's exactly right.
That's what
and the thing that
if they fair catch it, there's no chance.
That's exactly right. And I remember playing with Shane a lot, and we had to play him so deep on his punts that when he did hit a bad punt, it was a great punt because it rolled to 50 or 60 yards. And so he kind of had us either way there. But that's kind of, to me, that's kind of the difference in the special teams and punting game nowadays, is that guys now are just bombing it. I mean, they're averaging 50 yards for the year. Who'd ever thought that you could average 50 yards a punt for the entire season with pooch punts and net 45 yards?
Right.
Back when I started with you, Alan, there had never been a punter in NFL history with a net over 40.
I think Brett was the first one.
I believe that's right. And the closest I ever got was my first year. We were still, the Oilers was, I think, 39.7 or 8 or something like that. And we thought we had a great year, and we probably get cut nowadays.
No, we did have a great year.
Yeah,
especially as far as I'm concerned.
Well, yes.
Because they didn't return.
They didn't return a lot.
The return net against us was not very much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they averaged about 4 yards a return, maybe.
And a lot of that's scheme. It's a lot of that is we have guys that wanted to cover. We had guys that love special teams, and were willing to go out there and give it their all for one play. And that's tough to find nowadays. Everybody wanting to go out there and play special teams. I think because even later on in my career, it was hard to find guys that really had the want to go out there. So talk a bit about kind of if you could talk to special teams coaches around the country, and this could be high school coaches, college coaches. Tell me your advice on in regards to like strategy or film breakdown or actually choosing the players. Like, what would your advice to them be to get them going in the right direction in their career?
Well, you said that about strategy breakdown.
Yep.
Okay. I think learning the other team's
Tendencies.
tendencies and then being able to teach your guys what they are and then try to stop their tendencies is really big.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's huge, and that's hard to do. I mean, if you're not
that's kind of what I concentrated on.
well, and that's what set us apart special teams wise is because we had the ability to do that, to have the knowledge and the understanding of how to do it, and a lot of times we took advantage of it. We talk a lot about the amount of fakes that we were able to do, and just that really helps us because that's something else for the opposing team to have to prepare for. The possibility of all the fakes we ever ran. And I think it really helped our punting team a lot because we didn't get a lot of rushes because people are afraid we're going to fake it on them.
Exactly.
And so
that helps your punting game.
And to me, special teams coaches who are having trouble with punts getting blocked, or all you got to do is run a fake early in the year, and that scares everybody away from doing that. So
Well, that's one thing Jeff was going to do early in the year was run at least one fake in a preseason.
And he loved preseason fakes because they didn't really matter a whole lot.
Right.
Yeah, they were kind of we got to take advantage of not meaning a lot, but also get it on film from other people to prepare for.
Right.
Yeah. So going back to again, we'll talk about the Music City Miracle in a little bit, but go back to if you can tell me the first fake that comes to your mind that was one of your favorites, or an onside kick, or something that we did to fool the other team.
Oh, well, there's so many, but
Is there one that comes to mind right away?
well, the craziest one was in the Hall of Fame game,
Yeah. Yes.
and I'm glad he didn't make you do that.
Well, the thing is, though, I had played at that point for 16 or 17 years.
I know.
I never scored a touchdown. And A.J. Trapasso was our punter.
Yeah.
Punter out of Ohio State. Was a rookie.
Right.
And I was hurt that game. I couldn't play. But I was prepared to run it. And on his first punt in the NFL, the dude scores a touchdown.
Yeah.
And it was a Statue of Liberty play.
But he had to have Jeff there to call it because I wouldn't have.
Well, he looked like he'd been there before, though, because he ran that sucker in there pretty
he
good.
ran it good.
But you talk about an unbelievable play. So just kind of to explain it, and we'll show this. But we had a guy looping around the back of the punter. It was almost a Statue of Liberty play.
It was a Statue of Liberty play.
And the guy who came around the backside of the punter, faked the handoff, ran around the right side. The punter watched him for a minute, and then went around to the left side and ran it 40 or 50 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah.
But it's still, I watch YouTube stuff all the time of great fakes, and that's always on there.
Yeah.
So that was a fun one.
That's one of the ones I always remember.
That's right.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is back in, I think it was 2004, I believe. We weren't very good at that time. We were just a little below 500, but Peyton Manning was the Colts quarterback, and they were rolling at that time. They were really good. And Coach Fisher was like, "It don't matter. They're going to score on us.
They're going to score.
So let's try to get some more possessions."
Well,
so we ran three.
That was our Monday meeting.
That's
I
right.
told him, I said, "Hey, they're going to score. We need about 3 or 4 onside kicks."
Yep. And we
he
ran
said,
3 in the
let's
first
do it.
quarter.
And then what'd they do?
Then they put their hands team
put
out
their
there
hands team
for the
out
rest
there.
of the game.
Yeah.
So just having stuff like that to show the opposing team and having them prepare for it, to me, makes a great special teams coach. You got to have the nerve to trust your punter and your kicker at times to run these fakes. So let's switch gears a second. Well, actually, one more question I want to ask you about special teams coach. What do you think the biggest challenge is as being a special teams coach?
The
Biggest challenge. Like, what's the hardest thing about being special teams coach?
What you were saying, getting everybody on the same page, to be gung-ho about playing special teams, to want to be out there, and not think of it as a penalty or something they have to do or anything like that.
Yeah, and I can definitely see that, and I saw that for many years going to these special teams meetings, especially early in the year during training camp, when you got all these young guys who want to get out there, but they're not going to be on your team.
Yeah.
Trying to get these starters or potential starters to play special teams and to do it well and to take pride in it is probably would be my hardest thing as a coach.
It probably is, yeah.
Yeah. And really because they think they're above that. It's almost special teams is looked at sometimes by some, especially younger people, that it's almost like you're getting punished if you're on special teams. Or you're not good enough to start on offense or defense, so let's play special teams. But people have made long careers out of just playing on special teams. We look at guys like Steve Tasker and who other names can you name that are great special teams players that only played special teams. That's it's still a living, and you're on the field.
Well, and just like I know you had Kenny in earlier, but a lot of long snappers have had great careers.
Yes.
Just snapping on punts and kicks.
Yes. So that's a great point, because I want to talk for a minute about the snappers. So I had a conversation with my old long snapper, Kenny Amato, and we talked about kind of the transition from snappers being just somebody on the team that could snap and get you through the game to it being so specialized now. And that's all that there's actually a roster spot dedicated to a snapper only. Mm-hmm. That's how important it has become. And these snappers are so good now that they can actually snap the ball, and the holder will catch the ball with the laces pointed towards the uprights perfectly.
About 90% of the time.
And that's amazing to me as an old holder that, man, you could almost be a one-armed holder these days. Catch the ball and put it down. And it wasn't like that back then.
Or you could have to hold for Gary Anderson.
Yes. So yes.
This way,
so for Gary was an interesting one.
He was.
Amazing kicker, the most accurate,
no doubt,
dead-eye kicker I've ever held for, probably. But the way he had the ball held was really odd, and it was a difficult thing for me to get used to, because there are times whenever I caught the ball and the laces weren't perfect, but the way he liked the ball leaned, when I spun it, the ball would actually slide, and that was the most difficult part of holding for him.
And he had a different way he liked it held, depending on which ass you want.
Well, that's right. That's right. But having a picky kicker like that is tough, but it made me a better holder too.
I'm sure it did.
Because if I can do that, I can do anything. It was that tough. But holding for Gary nowadays would be a breeze, because you just catch it and lean it.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you the best hold I ever saw was the one you had against Cincinnati, where you caught the ball, spun all the way around, and got the ball down, and we kicked the extra point.
Was that the windy game we played?
Game.
So yes,
that ball was straight behind him. He went all the way around, caught the ball, spun around totally, put the ball down, and we kicked an extra point.
Well, and see the thing with those games, that game was amazing. Terrible to play in at the time, but looking back, it was a fun experience, because it's something not many people ever get to play in something like that. Maybe in Chicago once in a while.
I told you about halftime, didn't I?
When the
Ernest Spiner. We're going out, and everybody has a laminated game plans and all.
Yeah.
And somehow his got blown out of his hand. We saw it go out the top of the stadium. His game plan's flying somewhere.
Well, I remember that game, going out and warming up before the game, and I'm just like, first of all, you got to catch the ball. The wind was 50 miles an hour, or something like that. And just catching the ball, just catching the snaps was hard enough. But then having to actually get the ball off after you catch it, because you may catch it in your body, just trying anything to catch it, but then having to get the ball off. But into the wind.
Well, the kickers had to aim at if we were going this way, they had to aim at the left goalpost and it might not stay on the field.
Yeah, it was it was an amazing game. And then after the game, I was telling a story. I told a story on another video about us sitting in the bus after the game. Remember the bus? It felt like it was going to tip over.
We almost didn't get to take off that day.
Yes,
The
yeah,
wind was too strong.
yeah. That was a brutal game, and but those are fun games to play in after the fact.
Right.
But during, not so much. But I remember one of my favorite, most memorable punts was during that game when I got to punt downwind finally, and got a good one off, and it went out at the 1 yard line, which set us up for, I believe, a block punt by Keith Bullock later on.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So yeah, it was an awesome game, and those are ones you talk about 5 or 10 years and have fun with it, but it's not a whole lot of fun. Not a whole lot of fun.
That was, I was out there. Well, it was right after halftime. His deal had just blown out the top of the stadium, and I'm standing over by the sideline, and the bench comes rolling at me.
Yes, the metal bench was rolling across the field. Yeah, that's when you know you're in trouble, right there.
Man, I said,
that was awesome. So, I want to talk for a second about, because I did another video, and I would encourage people to go back and look at this video of the Super Bowl 34. Now, I did a video about kind of the behind the scenes of Super Bowl 34, and one of the trick plays that we had for the Rams, ready for the Rams to open the Super Bowl, was a surprise high bounce onside kick. Now, we had to have a certain look, and we had studied the Rams all year. They had been in the same formation all year. They'd done the same thing every single time. And I got a little pushback on this because there was some implying that, some things happened. But I'm just going to tell you my take, and you can tell me yours as well, that we watched the Rams all year. This play was, if I had kicked the ball right, we were getting this ball to start the game.
yeah.
And they gave us a look that we hadn't seen before, so we had to call it off. But we probably still could have run it. But to start a Super Bowl off with a surprise onside kick would have been absolutely awesome. And I had comments saying that it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game because it was too early in the game. And I'm like, anytime you can get an extra possession for your offense,
Exactly.
anytime you can get an extra possession for your offense, that's a change in the game.
Yeah.
And it changes the whole momentum of the first half. I mean, it changes everything. They had Kurt Warner. They had that greatest show on turf or whatever they called it back in the day. Yeah. So it was almost like playing Peyton, and because you couldn't stop them. So you're trying to gain an extra possession. But
then we lost both our safeties.
Talk about that. Talk about that play. Why we were going to do it, but then also what you saw that we had to call it off.
Well, the reason we were going to do is what you said earlier. They'd been in the same formation the whole year, every one.
Which was 5 guys up.
Which was 5 guys up.
Yeah.
Which is
was standard in the day.
Well, but it's a perfect deal for a high bounce onside.
That's right.
Because we can get 2 guys there to it easy.
That's right.
And so we decided that we would do that to start the game, but then they put the 6th guy up there.
That's right. Yep.
And so we had to call it off, and then the question is, what made them put that 6th guy up there?
Well, we can talk. We can imagine what might have happened, but the fact still remains is, for some reason, that extra guy was there.
He was, and we
did call it off. But it could have been a huge play in that Super Bowl and may have changed the whole outcome. We don't know. But anyway, that was one of my I don't know, I guess most memorable moments of that Super Bowl was because that was, I mean, I would have been pretty nervous to do that one. That was a kick that probably 9 out of 10 times worked well.
Bounce onside kick guys there.
But 9 out of 10 times, yes.
Yeah.
But there's that one time that you'd get the double hit and it wouldn't go anywhere. So can you imagine? I would be the laughingstock of Super Bowl history if I had kicked the ball off and double hit it for.
Don't even think about that.
But anyway, that was a
you would have hit it perfect.
Pretty interesting game. So let's talk now about Music City Miracle. Now, for people who don't know, Music City Miracle was a play that we ran against Buffalo late in the game. We were behind. It was a throwback kickoff that we scored on that was nicknamed the Music City Miracle. So kind of talk us through, first of all, how did you dream this up? Why did you dream it up? And then the execution of it?
Well, I saw Texas Tech University run it against SMU and beat them with it. And
Wow.
that's when I
So you modeled it after that
them,
exact play.
But I adapted it to our personnel,
Okay.
because they used
Sure.
a bunch of fast guys out there.
Yeah.
And I adapted it to our guys. But I went over to SMU and I had them show me the play. And then that's when I put it in and had it for 16 years or 17 years and never used it because we didn't have that exact situation come up.
Yes.
So,
But what people don't realize is we worked that play every single Saturday in walkthroughs with every different scenario that you could do to kick the ball off.
and we'd work on it at least twice and usually 3 times during training camp.
Yep.
A little more speed to it.
That's right.
But then on Saturdays, we kind of walk through it.
Yeah. So people who don't know that the way that their opposing kicker, Steve Christie, was the Buffalo kicker at the time, he pooched the ball to Lorenzo Neal, like a short kickoff to Lorenzo Neal, who handed it off to Frank Wycheck, rolled to the right, which really was kind of the downfall for the opposing team because their whole team seemed to move with Frank Wycheck to the right, which allowed our guys, our blockers, to peel back to the left and create a wall so that when the throwback
Exactly what was supposed to happen.
so that when the throwback came, there was a wall. He just ran to the end zone, which it happened perfectly. But I think it wouldn't have happened without proper preparation, first of all. But the second thing that people don't know is that it didn't matter where Steve Christie kicked the ball. Right. He could have kicked it deep.
He could have.
It still would have formed the same way.
It would have.
And we would have attempted the same execution of it.
Yes.
So let's say, for instance, he kicks it deep now. Tell me kind of the difference between Lorenzo Neal handing the ball off to Frank Wycheck or if a deep return man got it, and how would he get it to Frank Wycheck?
Well, if our return man to the left got it, he would take off like he's running right, and then he would get it to Frank, and our return man to the right would circle around and get in lateral position.
So he would have been the Dyson.
He would have been the Dyson.
Gotcha.
But we had 2 guys hurt. You remember that?
We had two different. I didn't remember
Anthony
that.
Dorsett and our wide receiver.
Isaac Bird?
No, Isaac was out there. It was
Mason.
Mason.
Derek Mason.
Derek
Yep.
Mason and Dorsett were both hurt.
Huh.
So that's why when Dyson scored, Dyson had never practiced the play.
So Kevin Dyson should have been Derek Mason.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or Anthony Dorsett.
And I
'cause they had
don't
both
remember
practiced
these
the play.
details. That's awesome.
Yeah, but
So-
Dyson had never practiced it.
So if they had squibbed the ball, like hit the ball on the ground to the front line guy, it just
Turn and throw it to Frank.
it just keeps lateraling back to Frank, and
Turn
it
and
would have
throw it
been
to
the
Frank.
same way.
Yeah.
So people think that it was kind of a fluke that it happened the way it did, but it really didn't matter where they kicked the ball because the same play was going to happen.
Well,
It just would have
the
developed
biggest
a little
part
bit
of it
differently.
Was Lorenzo actually catching it?
Yes.
That was a big deal. And then, but he didn't panic at all. He just caught it and he takes off and
And laterals it.
laterals it to Frank. And
Unbelievable.
it was. He
I
did
remember.
a great job.
I remember the on the field. Most people, not most, but maybe a quarter of the stadium had already left because they thought we had lost.
My daughter was in the bathroom crying.
Oh, and to hear the stadium a quarter empty, as loud as it was, still to this day makes the hair on my back of my neck stand up because it was like electricity in there. But people not realizing that we still had to kick the ball off after that, and there were still 3 seconds left on the clock, and we had to kick to them, and they were going to try their Music City Miracle as well. So, but what an amazing!
But you know that what that did to me.
What's that?
I didn't get to enjoy it. Because I had to start coaching. Okay, we can't let them do it. We got to do this.
That's right. That's right.
We got to stop them from being
just
able
just
to,
rounding everybody up
just
after
rounding
that
everybody
play.
up after that, getting them in the huddle. Going over what we got to do, how we got to stay in our lanes.
Yeah.
We always Jeff was good about this on that type of a situation. Instead of covering the twos as contained, he would cover the ones as contained and pull the twos out
As safeties.
as safeties, and that was, I thought, really smart.
Yeah. So just to explain for people who may not know what that means is each person on each side of the kicker is numbered. The outside guy closest to the sidelines are the ones, and they number 2, 3, 4, 5 as going into the kicker.
Correct.
So normally when you have a kickoff, the ones or the outside guys would be your safeties.
Correct.
So an opposing team has certain guys slated to block certain people. I blocked the 2, I blocked the 3, I blocked the 4. So what he did in that situation was he actually confused the opponent by, usually it's the ones are the safeties. Now they're the cover guys and the 2s drop back. So that allowed 2 free cover guys to cover the kick instead. That's kind of the strategy behind that.
A little bit softer.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so that's why a lot of coaches, and Alan, you did this so well as a coach, is you gave variants of different things like that every time, so no one could really bank on what you were doing. So you may take the 4 and the 5, you may cross them to try to confuse, or you may take the 3 and peel them around. I mean, there's anything we could do to confuse the other team.
Year, if you remember right, we put 6 guys on one side and we ran a bunch of guys around all the time,
which made it difficult for the opposing team to count.
You would high pooch, or you would go deep, or you'd onside.
Yeah.
And we could do all of those things.
Yeah. And I think that's what really made us successful, especially as a kickoff cover team, is that we were able to do all those variations and confuse the opponent. Because when you got 6 guys to one side, you may hit a little pooch kick to the 30-yard line with 6 guys covering it. But on the next kick, you may take 2 of those guys and roll them around to the left side and kick it deep left.
Yes.
And so the opposing team never had a beat on what we were going to do as a kickoff cover team. And that was fun for us too, because it was something different every time.
Yeah, every time.
Awesome. So to switch gears just a bit, we talk about kickers and punters, talk to kickers and punters a lot. So just for fun, give me your top 3 punters of all time in NFL.
Well, we talked about this. I think Mike Cyphers. And
Mike Cyphers punter for the Chargers for a long time.
Chargers. Yeah. And then guy for the Raiders was
Leckler. Shane Leckler.
Shane Leckler, and then probably you got to go with Ray Guy.
Ray Guy, only punter in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's a great 3. What about kickers? Because kicking is so different nowadays as opposed to what it was, with these guys kicking 60-yard field goals like they're little chip shots.
Yeah.
We had talked about some reasons why, and we'll dive into that in a second here, but and they could be kickers now or kickers in the past. Give me your top 3 kickers of all time, the way you see it as a special teams coach.
Wow.
I know I'll put you on the spot here, but
you are. I'd say, I think Gary Anderson's one of them.
I would agree. Gary Anderson, a punter out of South Africa, who kicked here for 2 years.
Yeah.
Incredibly
He
accurate.
was still kicking when he was 40.
44, 45, yeah.
He was, and I think he'd be one of them. God, there's
I'll throw some names out to you to see if they're on your top 3. Morton Anderson.
He's up there.
Okay.
He's in the top 5 for sure.
Adam Vinatieri.
Yes. I'd say he's in the top 3.
Okay. Who else would be? Maybe Justin Tucker.
He might be number 1.
Matt Stover. And those guys played for a long time, for a lot of years, and did really well.
Stover, I didn't think he was a great kickoff guy.
Okay. So you're looking at it all around. You're not just saying field goals. It's the whole deal.
Yeah.
All right. So we threw out a couple names there. What made, say, for instance, Gary Anderson so great? Because he didn't kick off.
Consistency of his field goals.
Okay. So if you're talking to a young kicker, what to, obviously making field goals, but what is your idea of a consistent kicker? It's for me as a coach and as an ex-kicker, the first thing I look at is they make it look easy. Then I look at rotation of the ball. The rotation of a great kicker is dead end over end. It never moves left or right as it going to the field goal post. So what would your kind of take on something like that be?
Well, that's part of it, what you just said. But my deal is their technique, that makes that happen.
So technique
so that they
being
use the same
being
steps.
repeatable.
Everything is repeated every time, and to get that, you got to have your line up right,
Yeah.
and then you got to take your step to where you're going to plant.
It's all about
and
plant foot.
all of that, and it's putting it in the plant foot spot.
So being repetitive, doing the same thing every single time is
time.
key. And I would agree with that 100%. For me, and I always teach my kickers, to me, the most important part of field goal kicking is plant foot position. Because if your plant foot's wrong, everything goes haywire.
No doubt about
But if your
it.
plant foot's right, a whole lot of things fall into place and it looks easy. These guys were able to do that repetitively under pressure. It didn't matter what situation. Justin Tucker, for instance, let's talk about him. What made him so special? Because I agree he might be the best in history.
Exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
He was just time after time after time exactly the same.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter what pressure he was under. It didn't. I remember his last kick in college. Because I'm a Texas guy and he's a Texas guy, and we were playing A&M at A&M, and he had a 40-something yard field goal to win the game. The last time we were going to play A&M at that time, and he just drilled it. He didn't do anything different. He just drilled it right down the middle.
Yeah, that to me is that's the difference between men and boys as far as field goal kicking is. Yeah, it's fine to do it in practice, being 20 out of 20 in practice, but if you're 0 for 1 at the end of the game, it doesn't really matter. It's the ability to perform under pressure is the hardest thing to teach in kicking as a coach. But what people don't realize is that it shouldn't even matter because everything is done the same way, whether it's in practice or the 1 second left on the field.
Right.
It doesn't really matter because the goalposts don't get any narrower. They may, in your mind, look narrower, but if you are so consistent with everything in your technique, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Coach Holtz used to always tell us, and I remember this is kind of what kind of helped me throughout my career. Is he always used to say, pressure is a feeling you get when you're not confident in your abilities. And how true is that?
I don't know if I've heard that before.
That you're so confident and you've done it so many times, you don't even think about it.
Yeah.
So what's the pressure?
Right.
Field goal post didn't narrow. Yeah, you might have guys rushing at you, but that's not your responsibility.
No.
So it was just I always held that with me throughout my career. Is that I've done this so many times. It doesn't matter if I'm punting the ball from the back of the end zone with 2 seconds left on the clock, or if I'm in practice, I'm dropping the ball the same way. I'm kicking it the same way. So that's kind of the mentality that I took into a game. But I agree. That's huge in a kicker is the mental part. A lot of people can kick a ball.
Yes.
But can they kick it when it counts?
Kick it when it counts.
That's right.
That's what separates them.
That's exactly right. So I encourage young kickers all the time, do your drills, do your practice exactly like you're going to play in a game so that when you get in a game, it's just another kick. That's to me what confidence is.
Yeah. Well, I've worked with a couple of college kickers that had as good a leg as anybody. But they just couldn't get the confidence and trust their technique and all of that. And so they were so inconsistent.
Yes.
But I mean, if you just want them to kick it 65 yards, they could do that.
As long as they can keep it between the corner pylons, right?
Exactly.
I played with a guy in Green Bay. Our kicker at the time got hurt, and they brought this guy in. I'm not going to say any names. Strongest leg to this day that I've ever seen. I mean, the guy had a cannon. Big guy, huge legs, fast leg. Practice would kick the ball 10 yards out of the end zone in kickoffs. I mean, the guy was amazing. And he got in the game, and the pucker factor took over, and everything went haywire. In that game and pregame, our special teams coach came up to me. I was holding for this guy. Came up to me, says, "I can't let him kick." He says, "You're kicking this game." Because the pressure had gotten so heavy on him that his confidence just went. To this day, I feel terrible for him because he had such a talent. I mean, you can't teach kicking 70, 75-yard field goals. You're born with that, and that's just the way it is. And this guy had it, but mentally he just struggled. Wow. And it's a hard thing to watch, quite honestly. All right, so let's go to post NFL. Tell me what you've been doing since you got done coaching.
Well, my first 4 years, I volunteered coach at Ravenwood High School
For special teams.
for special teams.
Okay.
And we ended up going to the state championship. I got to spend 4 years with the same class.
Wow.
This freshman class was really good.
Wow.
And we went through, but then we got beat in the state championship.
Now, a friend of mine, David Akers, was a kicker in the league for 15, 17 years, something like that. Great kicker. He had a son that went there. Did you get to coach him?
I coached Luke.
Yep, Luke.
And David was there with me too.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
we were together all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what a unbelievable opportunity for these young kids to learn from you with their experience. And
Yeah, Luke just couldn't stay healthy in college. So
yeah. I know he had a good leg. I worked with him a couple times, and he had a great leg.
A real good leg, but his knee just
Yeah, one of those nagging injuries that last forever, huh? So, I want to go to rule changes in the NFL because I have an opinion on a couple of these. One in particular, the new kickoff rule. Tell me your thoughts on this kind of whole new thing where they start, down the field and the opportunity of onside kicks to never happen. Or there is no opportunity to kick onside kicks anymore. Surprise onside.
Call it yourself.
Yeah, but if you call it, then you got to do it.
You got to do it.
So, what is your take on that? And just your thoughts.
I hated it at first. But now I think it's done what they created it to do, and it's taken a lot of the injuries out.
Okay.
So that would be my one positive for it.
Is there any suggestions or any thoughts of how to incorporate surprise onside kicks back into the game?
Not if you're
with protecting people.
Not if you're going to put those guys up at the 40.
Yeah. So you can't think of anything that would allow that to happen because that was
they
huge.
Tried that at one time. I think we talked about this, but they took the high bounce out.
Right.
And said you couldn't high bounce it, so it had to be a roller kick.
Yeah.
And that helped a little bit, but then they went ahead and come up with what they got now.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, the surprise that we used to do back when I was kicking off was the high bounce kick you'd mentioned before. And what you would do as a kicker is you would drive the ball, the point of the ball or the top as it sits on the tee, you would drive it into the ground and it would cause this, sometimes a
3-second hang
40, 50 foot bounce on this ball and allow your guys to go down and blow people up. We just catch it. They outlawed that because guys were getting hurt. But that's the same kick we were going to try in the Super Bowl 34.
Correct.
But I think they first allowed for a fair catch on that one, and then they took it away.
Yeah, you said that, and I don't remember that.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Right.
And I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the way it went. But I'm having a hard time with kick. It's almost like they're trying to take kickoffs out of the game to me. And I hate that because I love the element of surprise with the surprise onside kick and all that. So
they are, to a certain extent, trying to take it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's
just for player safety.
That's why I said I didn't like it at first because that's all I thought they were trying to do.
Yeah,
was take the kickoff out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, you get 3 or 4 that are returned for touchdowns every year.
You do, but you also don't get any onside kicks again, which
no, you don't.
To me is an art in itself because there's so many variations of onside kicks you can have fun with. Talk about onside kick. I'm sorry.
Some of these guys have gotten so good though at hitting it rolling in that landing zone.
Yes.
That it's almost like an
it makes the guy fumble around a bit.
Sometimes,
Yeah, that'd be fun to kind of mess around with that and see if we can figure out some kicks for that. That's one of the things that I used to love to do with you and the other kickers is dreaming up different kicks.
Yeah,
having fun with it. So onside
we
kicks.
Did that with golf.
Yeah. That's a whole nother video.
That's a whole
onside kicks. It seems to me now that there's not a whole lot of imagination with onside kicks. The guys will put it down on a tee and they'll toe ball it or they'll kick a little squib type kick.
Yeah.
But man, there's so many variations of onside kicks. To me, that would be so much more effective nowadays. And I look back on the Dallas kicker, did an onside kick in a game a couple years ago. And it was a spinner kick. We call it the spinner kick. And what you do is you lay the ball on the ground or on top of the tee, but sideways, and you kick either the right edge or the left edge of the ball, depending on which way you want it to curve.
Yeah.
But it took so long for that ball to go 10 yards that it almost created the same kind of kick as the high bounce because by the time the ball's at 10 yards, you're blowing people up on the other side. So I'm not sure why people don't do that more. But it's one thing that I'm going to teach in a future video of how to do that kick.
I think they are doing it a little bit more.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that I've seen a lot of the toe ball kicks where they lean in on the tee or they put it on the ground and kick the tip of with their toe and try to create that kind of high bounce. Yeah.
But this spinning thing, I've seen more and more doing that.
Yeah. Well, it's a double-edged sword too, because if you wait for it, you get blown up. But if you come up because once the opposing team crosses the 10-yard line, they can't be touched till the ball's touched or goes 10 yards.
Right.
So they're going to be waiting for this ball, but it's spinning so fast that when they touch it, it ricochets off of them. So you got two chances really to get it. So I just think it's a great kick. It's Brandon Aubrey, right?
Instead of trying to catch it with their hands, they just
do, and it can squirt right out from under you.
Squirt right out.
But I think Brandon Aubrey was the guy who did it with Dallas.
Yep.
Viewers need to go back and watch that kick and just look how effective it is, because it's something you really need to learn as a kicker.
Yeah.
So what is your, let's talk a minute to punters. Tell me some things, in your opinion, as special team coach, that you would love to see young punters work on to become better.
Like I said before, I think the whole deal with punting is consistency. So working on your drop, getting it the same, and your leg swing, getting it the same every time.
Yeah.
To be able to create consistency.
Well, I notice now that it's not so much like back in the day when I know you loved to directional punt, left and right, left and right. We'd try to pin teams in the corner. Mm-hmm. People aren't doing that a whole lot nowadays. It's more of this. It's more just driving it, almost like Shane Leckler did before this time. Right. Really, he was kind of I don't know if the originator of that kind of kick, because it was very effective for him. But it seems like guys are going away a lot from the corner kicks or the directional kicks. Is that something you think that might be prevalent nowadays, or do you think guys ought to really concentrate more on the different types of kicks they're kicking now, the end over end kick and the helicopter ball kick and kind of the Australian rules kick?
That's the only one they kick is that end over end.
That's exactly right.
That's the only ball they kick. It doesn't matter where on the field they are.
Yeah, and I'm so much a traditionalist, and when it comes to punting, that kind of is tough for me. But
me either.
So how can guys concentrate on doing that? Is there certain drills you would tell them to do? Is there certain situations they should put themselves in practice? Do they put cones in a quarter? I mean, tell me some drills.
Think lines, and to get them to catch the ball and head down that line.
Yes.
I think that helps.
Yeah. So I always talk about in my coaching that punting is all in straight lines. It's kind of what you're implying there.
Right.
Punting's all in straight lines. Kicking's all in angles. So when we're talking about punting, if you want a directional punt, you just aim I call them railroad tracks. I draw lines from the back of my feet through my toes down the field. That's one railroad track. Mm-hmm. I do it with my right foot. These lines should never cross in a perfect world.
Correct.
Because that means you're walking straight. And so all you need to do to directional punt, if you have good technique like you're talking about, is change the angle of these railroad tracks. If you want to punt right, point that way. You want to punt left, point that way. So that would be my, as an old punter.
One of the biggest problems you get, I think we're talking about that, is when guys want to try to hit the ball hard, is that last step they cross
That's
over.
Right. That's right.
And when you cross over, this leg has to get around somehow.
Yep. It's like a snowball effect almost. If you start out with a little error, it progresses to something big later. And really what you're talking about is, we're talking about these railroad tracks never crossing. They're always parallel in a perfect world.
Right.
If this last step gets really big, it tends to turn to the left. And when it turns to the left, it brings your drop inside and makes you swing across your body. It creates all kinds of craziness.
That's a bad punt.
It's a bad place to be as a punter, is to see that ball so inside your body you got to go chase after it.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Holding. Let's talk about that. That's one of the most thankless jobs in the world, I think, other than long snapping, because you only get noticed if something bad happens.
Yeah.
Just some tips for holders. Do you have any, just off the top of your head, just something you want your holders to work on? We used to work on a few different drills with you. What would you suggest for these young guys?
Well, I think just being able to get it to the spot.
Yep.
Okay. And then once you're able to get it to the spot, then get your laces down.
Okay.
Once you get it to the spot, now laces and, it's a
So how big of a spot would you say that you need to hit?
quarter.
A quarter. Okay. Now, to really explain why that's important, we talk about in kicking the importance of plant foot position. If your spot's off and your plant foot's based on the spot, your plant foot's going to be off.
Yeah.
So really a kicker is making his kick based on how the holder holds it.
Right.
And
A lot of the time.
and the holder holds it based on how the snapper snaps it. So it is a big ballet almost kind of thing.
It's definitely a team thing.
That's exactly right. And that's why we work so many countless repetitions together.
Well, and then the other part of it is for holders is learning how to handle the bad snaps.
That's
the
right.
low snaps, the things in the dirt, things to their back here,
Yeah.
and being able to get them down.
Yeah. Yeah. So bad snap drills, you'd have them work on bad snap
A
drills.
lot
Being able to rotate laces left or right based on where they are.
where they are.
So
Because a lot of guys will just spin
spin one way.
one way,
That's right.
and they can't get it around.
That's right. So I teach on my MPK program about there's two different types of holes. You either flick your thumb and rotate it counterclockwise
Yeah.
if it's closer to that side, or you pull it with your hand if you want to rotate it clockwise.
That's exactly how you do it.
So but what people tend to do is they tend to really go to one way. They'll pull it wherever it is. They'll pull it. So the laces may be at 2 o'clock on a clock, 12 o'clock being where you want them.
Yeah.
And they'll rotate them all the way around to the front instead of just flicking your thumb to the front.
Right.
So the worst thing a kicker can see as a kicker and a holder, so I think I know this very well, is to see a moving ball as you're trying to kick it.
No doubt.
So those are things we worked on a lot
And
in our
other
time.
part of that is, if they're not using their thumb, this hand can get in the way.
That's right. You can block your
You
own
can
field goal.
block your own field
Yes. Yeah, the double thud is the worst thing you can hear as a holder.
knowing that you did it.
That's right. Well, Alan, I'm so appreciative of your time. It was fun catching
Glad
up
to
with
be
you,
here.
telling old
Yeah.
stories.
This is
I
great.
know that young kickers, punters, special teams coaches are all going to gain a lot from this and from your wisdom of how many years of coaching?
31.
31 years, 3 decades of coaching. You're just an amazing asset to our organization and to me. Look up to you as a friend, mentor, and just appreciate all that you've taught me. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom.
be
And we are going to send this out to the masses and hope it helps.
Let's hope.
Okay.